This is This Week in Perspective with me, Adam Simbe. The government has announced a huge plan or huge plans to decongest the city of Dar es Salaam in the move to save billions of shillings. The country's economy is losing daily. Hence, a massive plan to term the traffic jams on the city or in the city, on the city roads, which have become perennial and very difficult. And one of the panelists will explain better how he was affected today. It is also known, and specific studies have shown, that workers are forced to spend many hours on the road in the traffic jams on their way to and from work, which is the central business district. Announcing these plans recently, the government spokesman, Dr. Hassan Abbas, said the feasibility study to construct 7 flyovers in Dar es Salaam will be completed in June this year. These 7 projects will complement 2 ongoing construction of flyovers at Tazara Junction and the Tubungo interchange. Certainly this government move should be welcomed by the city dwellers and road users, as it will ease their movement within the city, especially to and from work. To discuss this topic today, which is interesting for the viewers, particularly those in Dar es Salaam and road users, with me are on my right, Engineer Elfanan Lema. He works for a private consultant, but he is aware of these issues. Next is Deo Balile, the managing editor of Jamhuri News Magazine, weekly. Sort of, yes. And then left we have a traffic and safety consultant expert who is regular on the program by the name of Henry Bantu. Then next is Joseph Momnyange, another journalist, experienced, seasoned journalist as it were, who is now a media consultant. Before he was with the East African News Magazine. So, gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I thank you very much for having accepted my invitation to this very important topic today. So, I may start with engineer and then go on like that. What is your professional view, all of you, on the huge plans of the government to decongest Dar es Salaam city, and is the money there? Please, come in.
Yeah, of course, government has several plans to decongest Dar es Salaam, but it's a bigger plan which will continue for years up to 2030, and the new updated master plan has been extended up to 2040. So we cannot say that we have money in hand immediately, but the government has plans to implement the programs in stages. Yeah. So there's a plan to have the money to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Henry?
Yeah, I'm saying the idea that the government has come up with, or the decision rather, that the government has come up with, is timely. It is a decision that we've been waiting for quite a long time, some of us. You remember that some 3 years ago, there was a committee of government officials which met in Brazil and came up with the idea that the Sustainable Development Goals that were hatched some 4 years ago should have 2 aspects added to it. And we had 3.6, item 3.6, which was added, and this item was for the reduction of road traffic deaths and injuries by 50%. And that was to go concurrent with the UN Decade of Road Safety Action, which is 2011-2020. But they added 3.6 so that road traffic injuries and deaths are reduced by 50% by 2030. But there was another aspect which was missing in the SDG memorandum, and this was on the improvement of transport and the accessibility of urban centers. So 11.2, item 11.2 was added to that in order to ensure that there is an improvement of access to safe, affordable, accessible and sustainable transport by 2030. In fact, the introduction of BRT in Dar es Salaam was in consonance with that decision, and that's why Dar es Salaam has been awarded by the UN for having come up with that project. So I'm saying, when we talk about decongesting the city of Dar es Salaam, we are also in fact talking about depolluting the city of Dar es Salaam. These two aspects, these two aspects go hand in hand. So I welcome the decision to decongest Dar es Salaam by constructing the various flyovers, but also the improvement of feeder roads to the city of Dar es Salaam. Because for quite a long time in Dar es Salaam we have been depending on the main lines or main roads, and this has also been increasing Islam, and maybe that's the reason why we have been getting poorer and poorer
and losing money every year.
Exactly. So I welcome that decision. I think it is a decision which is timely,
Yes.
and maybe we haven't started feeling the pinch of pollution, air pollution in Dar es Salaam.
Yes.
But within the near future, with this influx of vehicles on our roads,
Yes. Some of
we are
them
going
very
to
old
start-
and they shouldn't be on the road.
exactly, we are going to start feeling the pinch of air pollution in the city of Dar es Salaam. Vehicle emissions and the like are going to start affecting our health immensely.
Okay.
So
Thank
I
you.
welcome the idea.
Thank you, Mr. Bantu. Dale,
Yes.
I move again to the right. What do you say about this?
I would like to join hands with Mr. Bantu by saying that the decision has come at the right time, though I would think it would have been done 20 years ago. Because today I have been one of the culprits. I have been caught in the traffic jam from the city center to here at TBC offices. It is a distance of about 13 to 14 kilometers,
Yes.
which would have taken me about 7 to 10 minutes in a road where the driving is clear, there is no congestion, no hindrances or whatsoever, but it has taken me 45 minutes. What does this mean? I was driving, which means I have contributed something into air pollution through carbon gas emission, because I was burning the oil, the fuel, while on the queues.
stand still.
Yeah, while standing still. But not only that, when I try to conjure a little bit, it has been my habit now to wake up at 4:25 a.m. That's when my alarm clock is set. I wake up at 4:25 every day to make sure I set my foot on the road by 5 in the morning. If I fail by half an hour,
Yes.
even if I get out of my home by 5:45, I reach my office by 9, a distance of about 22 kilometers. So you can imagine the time I'm losing along the road. The fuel I'm burning, all these contributes, the time factor, in a sense that I would have attended a lot of other issues. But by staying on the road driving, or by using public transport which is not reliable anymore or anyhow, I end up losing a lot personally, but also the government is losing as well, because I would have, that time is the prime time for production. I would have produced something, either giving the service or selling something where the government in return gets the revenue through taxation. So I think road congestion is a monster which should be dealt squarely. The idea is good. The idea is good, but it needs to be improved a little bit, the way I look at it. You started with the question whether there is money to fund this project or not. I think it's better we start from somewhere. Planning is fundamental. That's the first stage of development. We have failed big time because we don't plan properly from the word go. So we wait for the so-called benefactors, the so-called wafadhili, to come and support their own designed projects. And these donors, when they come to our country, they come to support their own designed projects which are not fitting our requirements. For instance, we are supported by several countries at Tazara and the Ubungo. Now you can imagine, you clear the hindrances at Tazara, but still there is a junction at Buguruni which is not attended. And Tabata which is not attended. we are nearly trying to do something, but we end up doing nothing. So I was of the opinion that when we get some funding from these so-called donors, we should also sit down and design our own requirements.
Or make a condition that thank you for the funding, but we will rather go with our
It should designs. Start within, from ourselves. It should be down-up approach instead of up-down approach. They give us the money, yes, but we plan for what we want to be. Yes. Most countries which have grown very fast, they invested a lot in the area of transportation. So if you have reliable transportation infrastructure, you are sure of making money, you are sure of transacting, your people will be moving very fast. I have some examples, like in China. In China, about 20 years ago, Peking was highly congested. There was no movement at all, which is now called Beijing. They had to relocate by setting up new cities like Nanjing, like Guangzhou, which here we normally pronounce it as Guangzhou, like Shenzhen. Shenzhen is a 20 years old city. But if you go there, the way it is set up with these flyovers and whatsoever, you move very fast. From a distance of about 200 kilometers, you cover it in half an hour by using tube, electrified railways. So even here in Tanzania, we should also think of using electrified railway in the city center. Apart from that, it helps in massive transportation, that instead of Bantu, Joseph, and the engineers each sitting on the road with his own car, yes, we could all share the cost by boarding a reliable public transport and reach where we target to be. But for us, we think by investing into the infrastructure, we might be losing money. But you go to South Africa. Joburg was highly congested. It was a precondition before being awarded the World Cup tournament to host, yes, in 2010, to make sure they constructed flyovers. They constructed about 21 flyovers to make sure they clear the ways from the airport to the suburbs of South Africa, to other cities like Sun City, to Pretoria, and the like. So even in Tanzania, if we want to make it, we love to make sure that we develop our infrastructure. You go to Accra. I was in Accra last year. They are also on the same program. They make sure that they build enough flyover at every junction. Now the engineer maybe will tell us, it should be a policy of this country that if you are awarded a contract to construct a road, whenever there is a junction, you should make sure you factor in the flyover concept to avoid the bottleneck. But now, I wonder, you find someone being given a tender to construct a very good road, but at the end of the day, you find like a Port Access Road. It was constructed in 1984 by Mwalimu Nyerere with 4 lanes. but it was reconstructed in 2014, 2015 with the same 4 lanes without flyovers. Then I keep asking myself, was Nyerere thinking better than we do about 30 years, 35 years later? So we should think a bit deep and put it as a country policy to make sure that whenever we are constructing a road from now on, any junction to avoid the bottleneck, there should be a flyover. If not a flyover, a passover.
All right. Dale, with your seriousness with this Fifth administration to move to Dodoma, do you think this will help?
Indeed, it will help, but also Dodoma, if they want to avoid a similar mistake, Dodoma, all constructions going on in Dodoma, we should do away with these roundabouts. We should try the flyovers. If you go in London they started with these roundabouts. They failed. They put the traffic lights along the roundabouts. The same in Nairobi as well. They did not have flyover technology. But at the end of the day, they found it was costly to widen the road, to create, to build 7 lanes, 10 lanes, in thinking that you would be easing the congestion. But if you have flyovers, at the end of the day, you don't create bottlenecks. So if you go to London in the suburbs like Southall, there is this Thames Valley University. They have used the simple technology to make the passover, not even the flyovers, passovers. You just build the bridge, you build the bridges. So I think in Tanzania, if we want to make it, we cannot do away with the flyovers. And Dodoma, you know, if you go to Abuja, Abuja is a replica of Dodoma. Actually, they took the same plan of Dodoma and built it in Abuja in Nigeria. They implemented what was designed in Dodoma. So you can't get lost when you are very familiar with Dodoma. In Abuja, you can move from one point to the other. It's just remembering that the roads are numbered 1 to 11.
No wonder I never got lost. When I was in Lagos flying to Abuja for meetings, I never got lost. Even my driver never got lost.
You can count roads. You know that number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Then at the end of the day, if you have been told that the hotel is located at road number 11, immediately you reach there. So Dodoma, we should not let it fall in the same trap like it has happened for Dar es Salaam, like it is for Morogoro. You know, Morogoro, there is a thin road entering maybe Morogoro is a municipal, but that road which is entering Morogoro, which is a pathway into Morogoro, is out. So I think we should have a policy. The engineer will help us here, which states categorically.
Yes.
And also the fact that we are moving to Dodoma. I think Dar es Salaam is still going to remain very, very important, especially an important business center. So chances are that Dar es Salaam will continue growing. So we need to come up with the contingency measures to make sure that we really decongest Dar es Salaam. We have got we can pick a leaf from other developed countries where they've come up with various arrangements to make sure that all the urban centers are decongested. For example, you find that you have got subways which have been constructed in various cities in the world. But of course, subways are more expensive. Maybe we cannot rush for them here. But also the traffic flow planning of various roads. You find that one-way streets have been very much encouraged. So here you have got this situation of in and out, on and and all that. It becomes chaotic, particularly if someone makes a stupid mistake on the road. It becomes really rough. But if we can come up with one-way streets arrangements, like we are trying to do right at the city center, that can ease the situation a bit. But then
hold on a little bit. At the city center, it is a bit problematic because you are trying to get these one ways, but you find a small junction, a feeder road with 5 meters.
Yes,
it is prohibited for you to link from one road to the one street to the other. So it is not done the way it is supposed to be.
You are very much right. But then also we can also start encouraging walk and cycling in urban centers. like Dar es Salaam. Something which here, walking can be misinterpreted.
And it's dangerous.
Because
too.
yes, sometimes you can be knocked out.
Oh, yes.
But we are saying if we establish a culture where walking will also be looked at as a noble act, and also if we start cycling, that can decongest the city of Dar es Salaam a bit. There are places where you have got special traffic boxes, traffic box areas, particularly in CBDs. In London, for example, you have got to pay your way to get into a CBD.
Yes.
You have got a place like Leeds where you can't go further than a certain point. Now, here in Dar es Salaam, you start defining the CBD. Where does it start and where does it end? At one time, we were in a meeting trying to come up with the regulations for borders and the like.
And Bajajis.
And Bajajis. Someone told us that the CBD of Dar es Salaam, the border should be Sam Nujoma, Mandela, or that, circumference. But then there was a very big argument. In a situation like Dar es Salaam, you start the CBD along Sam Nujoma, Mandela, then it will be really rough for those who want to get into the CBD. But then Kawawa was also decided, and I think Kawawa is now taken as the border for the CBD in Dar es Salaam.
Yes. Okay.
Now,
let's say you go. I know. You go. Let's also hear from Henry, so that the four of you have your views
from
very
Delhi.
quickly from Joseph.
Yeah, Deo said that we should have done this 20 years ago.
Yes.
He wasn't very far away from the truth, because there was this publication in the Journal for Sustainable Development by the Canadian Center, and the author was our own one called Kiunsi. They published a publication, it was in 2013. They said that some of the problems we are facing were because we didn't stick to the 1979 master plan for Dar es Salaam. That's why we are having these problems. Now they're saying that what they came up with was that there was no one size fits all for solving the congestion problem in Dar es Salaam. They say, you can have more roads, better roads, but if you don't relocate, community services, major services from the CBD, you just be playing the same game. So the thing that should be done is some of the services that are provided in the CBD should be moved out of the CBD. Besides having new roads,
yes.
We should have new roads, not just broadening the existing roads. We should have new roads. Let the engineers like Mr. Lemaya come up with new roads. I'm not an engineer, but when I moved from Kinondoni going to Magomeni, when you look at where they destroyed these, there were slums there.
Yes.
Between that place and Muimbiri, we could have, because when you go down there, there is a road that just goes to the marshland there. Why don't we have a road that goes into town from that area? Yep. We should be thinking outside the box. Let's have new roads, because all the roads we are using are the old ones that we have. So the strategies that are being put in place alone will never solve our problems unless we come up with new ways of doing these things and more efficiently. The bypasses, the other contributors we are talking about, yes, they are very important, but efficiency should be the key word, and we should look at some of these congestions are caused by poor driving, poor driving, just poor driving. Some of them are caused by, when the signals are not working properly. Or
you mean traffic lights?
Yes, the signals, they're not working properly on the roads.
But I thought even having a traffic police officer
Yes. So
delays everything, I suppose.
So we have a multitude of problems that contribute to the congestion in Dar es Salaam. Unless we look at them in a more embracing way, we might be going back to the mistakes that we made. Like they were saying that the 1979 master plan wasn't stuck because they just completely forgot about the master plan, and everybody was doing his own thing. And what they suggested is that when you have land use plan, when you plan where people will be staying, where you have your hospitals, there's a very big link between roads and where you provide these services. So these two are interlinked. We shouldn't plan them in isolation. They should be planned together. Because if you don't plan well, like if they gave examples of London, examples of these other countries that are more developed, we should, try to look at our own situation. Like Dale said, how do we plan the flyovers? Is it us or them that are planning because they are giving us the money? It should be us that should be planning. No, okay, at Tabata, there's a very big middle class. There are so many middle class people staying in Tabata.
Yes.
So we have there's a traffic jam every day.
Yes.
So it's us that should look at, okay, Tabata, we need a flyover or a bypass, whatever we call it. It should
decentralize services in the CBD into Tabata.
Into Tabata, yes. And we should, you might think it's not linked to the transportation and the congestion. Security. If you provide more security to these banks that they can move out and go into the suburbs, they provide services there. The Ministry of Lands, people travel all the way from Kibaha to the Ministry of Lands. Why don't you take, it's one of the areas that was very problematic, the Ministry of Lands, because of double allocation of plots and the like. So all people go to the Ministry of Lands. You have Muimbili. Everybody wants to go to Muimbili. Why don't you, what's that, the new hospital?
Mloganzila.
Mloganzila. And you have a maternity hospital at Chanika. So you have our women, our children being attended to at Chanika. So you decongest the city. So there are so many things that should be looked at. It's not just one size fits all.
Excellent. Let's hear from the engineer now.
Yeah, maybe I should start where my colleague ended, especially on it should have started
20
years ago. And okay, maybe I should start with Dodoma first. If you get chance to see the Dodoma master plan, it was prepared by a Canadian consultant in 1976. And that master plan had grade separated interchange at Nyerere time. So it's true that Nyerere was clever.
So he was thinking far ahead than most.
Yes. Yeah. There was grade separated interchange in Dodoma in 1976.
Imagine. Are they there?
The drawings are there.
Well,
drawings are there, yes.
Yeah. Dodoma is a new
but that was his vision.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's true that he was thinking
ahead of
20
us.
years ahead of us. Regarding now, regarding the having enough money to do or implementing the project to decongest the slum, of course, the government has tried what is called within the reach. For example, JICA was engaged by government to give the assistance to do the master plan, transport master plan, and they come up with some where they identified where the traffic is originating and where the destinations and where the congestions are and what are the possibility of expanding and easing the movement. And the first one was out in 2008. So something was happening. Somebody was working on something. And as a result of that one, some projects were implemented. One was Tazara flyover is the result of that 2008 master plan. New Bagamo Road expansion. Nelson Mandela Road, which was financed by EU. Of course, the first two, Bagamoyo and flyover is financed by JICA. BRT phase 1 is results of implementation of the master plan by JICA 2008, the phase 1, and have 5 phases, maybe 6 phases. Now they've implemented first phase, so something is happening. Kigamboni Bridge is one of the outcome of the master plan. This was financed by NSSF. Of course, other organizations like RACO, they've also tried to ease congestion by using the train. It was not in the master plan, but they started this commuter train from railway station to Ubungo. Yeah, so it's a process. It's a process, but it's a huge process, and it takes time.
Okay. If I could chip in a little bit, I agree with the engineer that it is a process and it takes time. Now that's where I want us to change the chemistry. The president has come with a new philosophy. Our president, the fifth phase president, says we should be doing at the fastest pace ever. Because if you look at what is happening in our country, we have been with these sweet languages where we keep telling each other a kind of giving a drip irrigation to sustain the life on a drip. But we need to make quick decision, hard decision, and move very fast than going a snail way. Because if we say something is being done, you look at, I have mentioned this city, Shenzhen. Shenzhen is a 20 years old city with a sister company which is going to invest in Bagamoyo. But if you go to Shenzhen, they have about 36 flyovers, and the city is very young. You find the generation there, our youth is of up to 40. Someone with 40 years of age, he looks to be old. The rest, you find them 24, 25, 26. You find a lot of factories. The movement in and out, access roads are very many. So for us, yes, we should accept that something is being done, but it is not done the right way. We should do it faster than ever if we want to catch up with the needed level of development that we aim at. Like Joseph put it clearly, to access Muimbili to the point to date is only one road from Fire. But you could access Muimbili from Kinondoni graveyards. You could access Muimbili from this area, the lowland from Mkwajuni, where the distance of connecting to Muimbili is not even up to 2 kilometers. It's half a kilometer, which can be just a bridge.
But you have people living in there.
Living in here.
We kick them out?
No. We can do what South Africa they did. When you come from the airport to the city center, there are some people who are staying down there, but they have put the poles and the road is passing over them. I have seen the same in Guangzhou. They don't demolish houses. They don't demolish houses to build the new road. You just build stronger poles. You set up the road, even up to 6 lanes up there. But life goes on here down. So for us, instead of demolishing houses, we should try to borrow a leaf. If others are doing, why can't we do it?
The distance is just too short.
Yes,
it's too short.
And also, this question of cost. Do we have the money or we don't have the money? I think it's a question of trade-offs. What are you choosing? In this particular case, do you fear the cost, the billions that we incur every day, or the polluted air that is going also to produce other healthy problems for your people? I think I like the present president or president of the day. I think he has got the guts, and I like him. He simply says, look, we have got money. And indeed, look at the projects that he has started with our own money. You have got the SGR, standard gauge. That is our own money. He went for the aeroplanes. Where did we get the money? We have got the Stegler Gorge project. It's going on. And some of these projects, you see, to decongest the slum, or even depollute the slum, are self-financing. For example, if you start some toll roads in the city, they are self-financing. From the toll road, one toll road, you can build so many other toll roads within a year. Or other roads which you will make, will alleviate the problem of congestion in the slum sooner than it were. So I think it's a question of decision, having the guts,
priorities,
setting our priorities, knowing that we have got to do these things, and the fact that we are planning for decongestion, to me, that is a plus.
All right.
It's not a question of daring.
Yeah, I know. One minute. I want to follow up on with the Henry Bank again. So, do you think the government move to decongest the slum by building additional 7 flyovers is a panacea? And which one could we have started, as you said, we need to prioritize? Which could have come first, flyovers or constructing mass transit railway system?
Well, like I said, to decongest the slum, it requires concerted efforts. My friend here mentioned a number of issues that have got to be done. And some of them are expensive, some of them not expensive, some of them is a question of decision. We make decisions and we do them. For example, mass transport is a priority because it involves a lot of commuters moving in those commuter systems. Like we have started now with the UDAT. We are going for the second phase. We are also going to go for the third phase and fourth phase. That is a welcome thing. But at the same time, we should also have other projects going on to make sure that the slum is accessible, is passable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any role of the private sector, Engineer Lemon?
The private sector, maybe we should look at it in a different way. First of all, the infrastructure is investment in infrastructure is not a cheap thing. It's something which you have to invest a lot of money. And private sector involvement in this kind of projects have to have some kind of returns at the end, because they are doing business.
Yeah, but it could be participation in private sector,
yes,
public sector.
And one of the projects which is in that line is the Dar es Salaam Chalinze Expressway. The plan is to have the contractor or consignee come with money, build the road, operate it, to recover some money, and maybe later hand over to the government.
BOT.
Yeah.
Building, operate and transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's saying, Mr. Simbe, you know.
So that is in plan.
Yeah, because we're giving examples maybe of if in Europe they're more advanced, but let's take an example next door in Zambia. They're doing that. They're having toll gates now on their roads. I saw one when I was coming from Lusaka going to the Copper Belt. They have toll roads, the toll gates where you pay something, because these roads are constructed at enormous huge amounts of money. So you need to recover that, and
Before you go on, let me remind you.
Okay.
We had toll roads in many roads in Tanzania, major roads in Tanzania, but the money didn't go to the pocket of the government. It went to individual pockets.
Yeah, but
there are no more roads now.
Them days.
There are no more
Look
tolls.
at what do we call this new bridge? Mwalimu Nyerere Bridge?
Yes.
Yeah, Kigamboni Bridge.
Yeah, crossing to Kigamboni. There's a toll system there working.
And
And I think it's working.
It's now like the BRT now.
Yeah.
You know, you buy a ticket, you open the gate yourself, like like the trains we use in Europe. You know that we are doing that, because if it didn't happen then, it's not that it can't happen now.
And maybe to help on a little bit, we failed by that time
Yes.
as the technology was not there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But currently it's so hard to fail when you introduce the toll system. Instead of using the road toll, we are paying the road toll to date, but we are paying it through
In a
the
different
fuel.
manner.
Indirectly through the fuel. When you go to refill your car at the petrol station, automatically you pay the road toll. But now we are also not guaranteed whether the whole amount goes back to the road or when it goes to the government coffers at the treasury, it vanishes or it ends up funding something else apart from road. So it's a question of daring. I wanted to give you one example. In 2002, 2003, 2004, President Magufuli by then was the Minister for Works. He started this concept of BOT, work, build, operate, and transfer. There was the donors were not ready to fund this party from Singida to Sherui. But now President Magufuli was the only minister who went to President Mkapa by then and told him we can build this road by using our own money. Even the president by then was surprised how we could build that piece of road from Singida to Sherui. He started very little, step by step. At the end of the day, we finished that party from Singida to Sherui. It's a distance of about 80 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken. So the question of whether there is money or not is a question of our commitment. It's a question of our mindset. We should stop begging so much.
Thank you very much. My dear panelists, I have a note saying we have 10 minutes to go, maybe even less now, since we have also to close. Let me start with Joe, going this way. We end up with the engineer. So, are there changes, if any, in the implementation of this decongesting the city of Dar es Salaam? And what should we actually be emphasizing very quickly?
The emphasis should be on commitment. You know, we should commit ourselves to doing this. We shouldn't be thinking about the money aspect, because the impact of congestion, there is an environmental part, there is the economical part, there is an healthy, social. So in order to minimize traffic congestion, first deal with the supply side. That is taking action that lead to increase not only in capacity but also offering transportation infrastructure, dealing with demand. You know, that is taking action that lead to reduction in the use of personal cars going into the CBD.
All right.
That should be one of the things.
Henry, very quickly, the challenge, if there is any.
No, I'm saying it's a question of commitment. It's a question, I mean, the plan is okay. We can move into this new era through commitment. And some other countries have done a lot, like introducing various measures to make sure that their cities are decongested, their cities are accessible, using affordable means, affordable systems. And I think we are moving towards that, and we have to do so. Like my friend here suggested, that we could also move into construction of satellite cities. They also have to decongest Dar es Salaam. And by doing so, we also depollute Dar es Salaam.
All right. Very quickly.
With this decision, I think President Magufuli is taking Dar es Salaam to the right direction. Only that when designing these flyovers, they should think of Buguruni, Mnazi Mmoja, Fire, and Magomeni. Short of that, will be bottlenecks.
No Mbezi Beach?
Mbezi Beach, because you stay there.
No, not necessarily. I live in Jangwani.
Mwenge is inclusive.
No, you mentioned that because these areas, you know, we haven't done any research, but these areas are,
Hubs.
one time or the other, they get a lot of, you know, the movement of traffic is just so huge. If you talk about Mbezi Beach, it's one single, but this is a congestion whereby traffic stops. These areas that
there could be a minor flyover
Yes.
along the JKT headquarters there, Mlalakua, to help those who are connecting to go to Coca-Cola and those who are coming back to Mwalimu Nyerere. That could be a minor flyover. But we are saying major flyovers from Mnazi Mmoja, Buguruni, Magomeni.
And towards the airport, but towards the airport, of course, you have the star.
Indeed. So I mentioned banana as well because I have some interest in it.
No, but you're right. I don't have any interest there, but banana is a headache. It's a headache. You're right. It's a headache. You know, you go to turn to Kitunda. It's a headache there. They need to do something.
All right.
Yeah.
Last.
Maybe
one or
to
two.
the decongestion of Dar es Salaam is not only the introduction of flyovers. What we are trying to do here is to move more people in few vehicles, mass transit systems. Because if you have only flyovers and everybody bring in the car, still these cars can pile up at the end. And this is happening in some cities. We'll see car queuing up on top of flyover. So that's not only a solution. So that's why the study has to be done properly, and we have to use different ways of decongesting. Another approach which the government is using in the current master plan is also to in future to have settled cities, because our problem now is Dar es Salaam is like these fingers. We have all the activities here, and we have the routes. So in the morning, everybody is coming to this place.
It's radio.
Yeah, and then in the evening they moved out of this.
I can see them, the rapid transit buses. In the morning, they come fully packed, but they go back empty. In the evening, they come to the city center empty, they go back full packed. So this is a problem. We need ring roads as well, where people can connect from Mwenge to the city center, to Mbagara, to Kigamboni, back to Mwananyamala and so forth.
Having underground train is too far-fetched.
What we should be thinking about as well.
In the current master plan, in the current master plan, we have outer ring road from Mbezi to Mbezi Bagamo Road to all the way to Pugu.
Yeah.
And then there's another inner ring road. All these are in the plan to be implemented, and I'm sure they will be implemented.
Now we should start implementing.
Lanes. And it's not we're talking about, we're not talking about 6 lanes.
We should start implementing, because plans have been there ever since the independence.
No,
so we want now not
now
to be told that the plans are there. We want to see, like President Magufuli has said, we are building Stigrat Gorge. The process has started. So the plans, we are fed up with these plans. Every day we are told the plans.
But you can see that the process are happening. Maybe the last one is satellite city I've said, because that one will change the movement. When you have you put a satellite town with all the needs,
they don't have to come to CDB.
Yeah, even if you need to come, you change the movement. While this one is going to the north, the other one is going to the west. So it's not like the way it is now. They are unidirectional. You disperse the traffic. That's the advantage of it. And then when you all have these measures, you will find out maybe you don't need even a flyover.
That's what I said.
You have to look at this in totality.
That's what I said. The same thing. I said, we need there should be efforts to redistribute the services that you provide. Not just the flyover.
And then also the master plans between Ministry of Lands and the transport sector have to be consistent. The land use. And another important aspect we are always forgetting now, especially in the master plan, and the development of infrastructures on the land, we invest a lot on traffic attracting activities, and so they brought in a lot of traffic at that location. So we concentrate the traffic in those areas, like we can say along Old Bagamo Road. Mwakibaki, sorry. In other countries, you have to do traffic impact studies before you invest in those particular areas.
There is no investment at all. Like Banana, it was a chicken layering factory, but now it's a socialization center where you find people moving from Tabata, Banana to
come and enjoy themselves.
To enjoy themselves. So there is no planning. It's a coincidence.
So we should stick to the master plan. We should follow the master plan, and all the investment have to follow.
My viewers, I must thank you very much.
The 1979 one wasn't followed.
Yes, I must thank you very much for your contribution to this very interesting topic, and I'm sure the viewers out there who are, particularly in the city of Dar es Salaam, the residents who almost number nearly 5 million, will be very happy for the government move to decongest Dar es Salaam. And your ideas, once taken seriously as part of the general citizenry contribution, will help a great deal. And as you rightly said, commitment is very important. So let's hope what you've suggested, contributed, will get to the ears of those who matter. All right? I mean, those who in power. And unfortunately, we didn't get a positive response from the Ministry of Works for obvious reasons, because all of them are in Dodoma, so we couldn't get a representation from them. It was important to have someone from there, but we tried. So viewers, the traffic jam congestion in Dar es Salaam city has been a serious problem for many years and has led over time to a number of serious socio-economic, environmental impacts, as we heard about the question of the pollution. Therefore, the recent announcement by the government through its spokesperson, Dr. Hassan Abbas, that it will implement a huge plan to decongest the city of Dar es Salaam, thus ease the traffic jams from all those areas, as we heard from my panelist here. It's a good idea. We should all welcome that. And as you said here, we need commitment, which is important. We shouldn't bother very much. We should, but the question of money is not that fundamental. The government, of course, will say they will be building 7 additional flyovers, additional to the current one at Tazara, and later on the Ubungo interchange. Despite easing and making life comfortable and travel in and around the city of Dar es Salaam by the dwellers and particularly the road users, decongestion should have an economic impact as well. And as we heard somewhere, yes, by spending many hours on the road and getting off late has had a negative impact. This is good news for almost about 5 million citizens of Dar es Salaam, and especially road users who will now have to spend less hours, less time on the road to and from work. This is all we have for you viewers today. Until next Sunday at the same time, and on Thursday at 15 hours for repeat program. On behalf of my panelists, Engineer Lema, Senior Journalist Deo Badile, Traffic and Safety Consultant Henry Bantu, Senior Journalist, Media Consultant Joseph Mumnyange, and my TBC television crew. Thank you, viewers, and goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.